Hey guys, so I'm going to be talking to you today about your childhood memory planning and what that looks like. So you'll see that there's a childhood memory planning how-to page. So this is my example of, and I used Lucid Charts, which is what we're all going to be using. So this is my example of what your planning might look like, right? So you have your introduction, and it needs to talk about like you need a hook, right? And then the kind of information that opens up your story for me. So where did it take place? Who was there? How old were you? That kind of thing. So like my hook would be sometimes things happen to you and they are not your fault at all. That's not entirely true. This was probably a little bit my fault. Um, it was the summer of 1995. I grew up in a house on the lake and we were on the beach, and we were having a big like family bonfire. And it was like my mom and my two older sisters, plus a bunch of my cousins and my aunts and uncles, specifically my cousin Peter, who is my age. He's like 3 or 4 months younger than or older than I am. And he and I were both about 7 years old. So every year we have like a big family bonfire in the summer when all my cousins are visiting, and we burn our Christmas tree. And normally our Christmas trees are really big. They're like 12, 13 feet. So we have this like big bonfire, you get these massive flames, all this kind of stuff. So my aunt had taught us this like trick you could do with newspaper, where if you folded it up and then if you kind of like folded it into a dome and like had a little thing at the bottom, and then you lit the four corners and the bottom, it would basically create like a little hot air balloon and it would float. And she called these flaming skulls. We were really bad at making these. So most of them ended up just like flapping over on the beach and never actually taking off. So my cousin Peter was like had this stick and he was putting out the skulls with the stick. Like he was like beating them out. The stick was on fire. Because we were 7, so of course it was. And I, like an idiot, walk behind my cousin Peter, and he swings backwards, and this stick full of like really hot coals goes straight into my right eye. So obviously, I think that I'm dying. My older sister, who was working at like a vet's office at the time, so thought she was a medic, basically grabs me and like shoves me under the sink in our kitchen, and it runs like super, like the water, like full blast into my eye to flush out all of the like coal and stuff that was in there. So while they're doing that, my everybody else in my family is like freaking out a little bit, and they end up taking me to the ER. Side note, we had a lab named Jessie who ate probably about like a total of 3 or 4 pounds of s'more stuff during this time. She was fine, but she ate like all of it because everybody left to go take me to the ER. So the doctors are like pulling like pieces of coal out of my eye. I'm like watching them like tweezer them out. And they like put this dye in my eye that hurt really bad so that they would like contrast. And basically I just had a scratched cornea, thank God. Like I didn't have anything, there was no like puncture, like my eyeball didn't fall out or catch on fire or anything like that. But I had to wear an eye patch for 2 weeks. Granted, it was during the summer, so it wasn't the worst thing, but I looked like a pirate. And my cousin Peter feels so guilty, and I find out later that he like cried the entire time we were in the emergency room. They ended up like leaving him at home with his mom, with my aunt, and he like cried and was convinced that he'd killed me this whole time. So the entire time I wear my eye patch, Peter felt so guilty. He was basically my slave, and did everything that I asked him to do, which was awesome. Because my eye didn't really hurt that badly, in all honesty. So my conclusion is I've learned several lessons of this, right? So like one, be careful around fire. It's really dangerous. You never know when it's going to hurt you. Never walk behind people who are swinging anything, particularly when it's fire. And 3, if someone hurts you, you can use their guilt against them to get stuff. So, things to think about. So this is what like my planning looks like. So you're going to click this link. It's going to run you through a couple of things like how to create a uh, login, an account on Lucidchart, which is going to link to your Google Drive. And all you have to do for that is use your school email. I would use your same password that you use for like PowerSchool, or for Rapid Identity or whatever, and just use that. So then it's going to take you to this, and it's going to give you some tips, right, about how to use Lucidchart. We're going to be using this a fair amount. Because it's a nice kind of creator. So it's going to run you through a couple of tips about like how to create things and how to move stuff. It's going to show you how to change the color of the boxes, how to change the outline color of the boxes, how to change your arrows to curvy ones rather than right angles. Okay. And then it's going to show you, so like these are where all the other shapes are and that kind of stuff. And you can use them to draw all these different kinds of diagrams. We are going to be, I already have made your template for you. So you can scroll in by, I do it by doing control and then the mouse wheel up, but you may not be able to do that on a Chromebook, depending. So you've got some stuff here. So you don't have to fill in these triangles. You do have to fill in your childhood memory paper title, and all you do for that is double click inside, okay, and it'll let you change the name to something else. And then you'll have, you'll write your hook that needs to be a complete sentence. The rest of these are just kind of bulleted, and you're just answering these questions. And so you can either break your story up by like first half of your story, second half of your story, or your story and then the aftermath of what happened after like the event. And then your conclusion, what did you learn? How does this continue to affect you? That kind of thing. Okay. When you are finished, you'll hit, no, I don't want to do that. So when you go to share it, you'll click share, you'll name it, just name it your name. Okay, hit save. And then just do get shareable link. And you can edit and share. You'll copy the link, you'll hit done. And then when you go to the assignment, and this again shows you the sharing stuff. You're going to be submitting a URL. So when you hit submit assignment, you'll be able to just copy and paste that URL in there like you see right here, and then hit submit assignment. Okay. If you need to add, back to this, if you need to add anything to this, you can do so by like clicking right here. It'll create an arrow, and then you can do just another box, and then you can type in it, and it'll grow to the size that you need when you're typing and things like that, okay? The colors don't really matter. If you want to change the colors, you're welcome to, but it's not super important. Just make sure that you share that to me. If you've got questions, please ask me, and I will be glad to help you. All right, guys, bye.